And by taking this job, did you have to reject other options?
Yeah, there were some other opportunities, like around the time I was going to Q8, there was potential to work in, a potential ability to work in Russia, in Moscow. And I looked at that, and they were doing interviews when I went to Poland for a week, and so I couldn't do the interviews. The job seems to be more like working in schools, and I want to work with teams. I don't want to be a teacher, I don't want to be a clown, I'm a coach. It would be a step backwards, although it would be fantastic to explore a new country. But now, a year on, Russia's not the safest place in the world at the moment. So you win some, you lose some. And there was also opportunities in China. I think it was in Beijing. Again, it would be in schools doing classes. I have no idea what China would be like. It'd be fascinating to find out one day. But talking to the company a little bit, you've got to be careful if they can't always give you straight answers, if they're not clear in what they say. Especially if you're going to spend a few £1,000s on a flight to go over there, you need to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. And one thing I always look for, one thing my family always looks for, is the quality of the website. If it hasn't been updated for 3 years, then what are you getting into? I mean, I've lived in houses with 10 people where you share 2 or 3 people in a bedroom. I don't want that. I'm an adult. I want my own space. I'm not travelling the world to live in student dorms. I want a life outside of work, and you need to have your own space. Mexico offered that, our own room. You realise from doing these things is what you come to appreciate in life, and it's that little bit of privacy, that little bit of me time that sometimes you can't often get. And if you're working from 9 in the morning until 7 at night, and then you've got to sleep in the same room as the guy you've been working with all day, I mean, if you don't like him, where do you go? How do you get away from that? And if you want to complain, you can't complain to him about him. You can't hide that, and there's no space for yourself. You need that time to unwind and to clear your head. And there's also the opportunity to go back into the States again. Got in contact with a few companies about some opportunities, but they would have been starting in sort of February, March or April, and I wanted to get straight back into work. There was another opportunity in Hungary, which was volunteering. It looked fantastic, but I can't afford to be a volunteer for a few months. Not at this stage of my life anyway. I can't afford that. And plus, when you're finished, then what? You got to look for another job again. But the opportunity to come here, learn new language, and to experience this new culture, it's too good to put down.
What do you think is wrong with the way Mexicans lead?
Well, looking at coaching, it's very hard to know where to start exactly. This is an area which causes me a lot of frustration, and I can spend hours talking about the topic. I'll start with the respect. I've seen Mexican coaches scream and shout at 7-year-olds. How is that going to improve their performance in any way? It's going to make them cry. It's going to make them nervous. No one wants to be shouted at. The reason why kids play football, kids at that age, are not playing for money. They're not playing for glory. They are playing because they're with their friends, they want to kick a ball, they want to run around and have fun. Why would you shout at someone who's doing that? You're just going to turn them away from it. I don't like the coach, I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to go to football because all that happens is I cry when I come home. I don't want that. And there's a great quote from, I think it's the manager of Burnley. His name's Sean Dyche. He says, why would you shout at kids playing football if you wouldn't shout at them when they're trying to read? It's the same thing. You're trying to learn. You're using your brain. You're trying to experience it. Could you imagine how successful you were doing at school? You're doing your exam. Your teacher's leaning over you, shouting at you, do it better, do it quicker, answer this. You can't focus. You can't concentrate. It's completely unhelpful. They think they're helping, but they're really not. Another way is that on top of the shouting, you've also got them telling the kids every single decision to make. Pass to him, shoot, run there, go there, do this and do that. Pick up a controller and play the Xbox. You're supposed to guide kids. You're supposed to present them with challenges and problems and let them overcome it. You tell a kid to pass to his teammate, well, why? You say to a kid, when you've got the ball, it would be really good if you could pass to someone. Why do you think that is? Because he's nearer the goal? Yeah, that's great. So when we're in a game, if you see that opportunity, could you take it? Yeah, I can do that. And now they feel like they're achieving something. And you're not dictating it to them. You're presenting it to them. And they themselves are the ones that are figuring it out. They're themselves the ones that are doing it. Like, for instance, when you're defending, you could say, take this player, go there and do that. Or you could say, just a simple, during the game, nice little expression. What do we need to do? Not as long as this, but you think of it. What do we need to do in order to stop them scoring? Simple phrases like, who can you cover? Who can you mark? Where can you go? They're figuring it out for themselves. They know what they're supposed to do. They know they've got to cover a player. But you're not barking orders. Cover him! You're not doing that. You're saying, where can you go? Here. And they figure it out themselves. And they get that. They learn better from doing that. And they remember it better. And when they achieve success, they feel better because they did it, not you telling them how to do it. There's a much, much better feeling of self-efficacy from players that experience things like this. Mexican coaches here, they're not focused on development of players at all. Not on the development, they're focused on winning. You've got to win the game. Because it's about credibility. If you lose, you look stupid, you look like an idiot, and I don't want to look like an idiot, so I'm going to pick my best players. I'm going to tell my bad players to only pass to the good players. And so if you've got some kid who's not particularly good at football, who's sitting on the bench doing absolutely nothing, how is he going to improve? You've got to give him time on the field. You've got to give him attention. Mexican coaches don't do that. And it's really frustrating. And they only look in the short term. They don't look in the long term. Another thing is, there's no strategy from the coaches as individuals, from the teams. There's no philosophy. There appears to be no guidance from the Football Federation itself. Back home we got it, in the United States we got it, in Europe they got it. Everyone knows what they're doing and how to adhere to these. And everyone feels like they're part of the jigsaw. Everyone feels like they're part of the whole picture together. And from this comes goal setting. The Mexican approach is very much now. We have to win the game now, today. Whereas I'm looking at creating players who are going to be good when they're older. When you're 18, you're not going to care too much about what you did when you were 7. You probably won't even remember it very much. And if you don't learn the skills, by the time you're 18, you're going to become useless. And so we look at steps. We look at, can we achieve a little bit each week, do a bit more? Can we be better than we were in the previous game? Can we learn from our mistakes? Can we improve this area? So now for kids, look at your fundamentals, your passing, shooting, dribbling, ball skills, all that stuff. Can we improve them? You improve those, one by one, the rest will fall into place. So what now?